have nothing and everything.
I'm a Mac at home, Windows at work kind of guy.
Yeah.
Party up front, business in the back.
Yeah, I have a Mac at work and a Windows at home. So it's kind of confusing when you sit there. Sometimes you're
Party at work.
Business at home. That's how I live by.
Party up front, business in the back.
Wow. Oh man. Do you hear they're talking about doing a remake of Ren and Stimpy?
IQ.
I know this is an old joke, but I think Tyson literally put that on our Facebook page like yesterday. Is that where you saw that?
What?
That they're doing a reboot of Ren and Stimpy?
No, I didn't actually see it on the Again.
Just wait and bring that up in about 5 minutes.
Oh, yes.
I'm serious. I seriously, when you guys start going on about guitars and about this stuff, I just don't pay attention. Then halfway through, it's like, oh, you guys said something that I should be listening to. All right, and we're back.
I'm the same way with other topics.
Yeah. I would be exactly the same way. It's just that so far, everything that's gone on in the group chat, I've had a horse in the race. So like I kind of pay attention.
Gary, it's time to start bringing out the geopolitical situation in World War II.
Is it still a situation?
It was in the day.
If there's one thing I'm happy COVID has brought us, it is these crazy political YouTube conspiracy videos.
Oh, isn't that great? Man. 5G, man. Yeah.
Slurp it all up.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
Let's get that tinfoil
Have you got
hats.
into the fourth turning yet?
The what?
Oh, don't know that one.
Go put in the fourth turning when you go home.
The fourth turning.
Fourth turning.
Okay.
On what? On YouTube? I'm going to save it so
Go start down that rabbit hole next. Hey, Jim Gaffigan has an Amazon show now, and the first episode is his Canada episode, which is the set that we went to
It's
see.
that set?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And then the end of it ends with a cartoon right with the audio right from the Moncton recording.
Oh, really?
He's talking about Acadian culture.
Oh, no kidding. That's cool. Oh, that's great. Have you been watching his whole YouTube at home?
No.
Stuff?
I just saw that he's having meals with his family.
Yeah. That's all he does. He just records meals with his family. And it kind of gets a little old, but like he does the cooking segments and he puts the chef's hat on and they have like a nice place and all this. And he just like gets like frozen fries, puts them on a pan and talks about that. And his whole thing is like every 5 seconds, he's like, let's get cooking. Let's get cooking. Put a little pepper on that. Let's get cooking. Man, these mugs are awesome. I realized no one can see them.
I didn't know what to say.
No, I didn't either. I was like,
You got a nice set of mugs there, Jay.
Thank you.
Jeremy's got such a face for radio, it's not even funny.
Thank you, Cameron.
You're welcome.
It's very sweet. Well, it's the summer. And what are you going to do in the summer when there's a pandemic going on? Well, you got to find somewhere to social distance, but you can't forget about your family. So where can you bring your family and social distance? At a U-Pick, of course, where there's a giant field and berries to be picked. And you know where you can do that? At Ramsey's High Bush Blueberries in Petitcodiac, New Brunswick. That's right, High Bush Blueberries. I don't know if you've had those before, but they're like jumbo blueberries, and they're a lot of flavor to them. They're really tasty. So yeah, when you get down there, tell Craig when you see him that Jeremy sent you. I don't know if he'll do anything different or if that will, gain you any advantage, but he might nod. So check Facebook and Instagram before you go. They might be picked out because they're busy. So make sure you get down there while the berries are fresh and bring your family, significant other, and make a date, make a family trip to Ramsey's High Bush Blueberries. Any thoughts on the Racing Point verdict,
Been waiting to-
Mr. Cameron there, you've been kind of quiet through the...
Been waiting to hear Cameron's. We'll have to explain it to people too, because
it's okay. So
not everyone watches F1, but
so apparently
apparently
and allegedly,
he's air quoting, just so you know. You can't see it.
Mercedes Formula One team is the best team and the best car in the grid. No one touches them. They're above everybody else. They just destroy anybody and everybody in their path. This happens in Formula One. Every couple of years, you get a team and they stay on top for a couple of years. So, Racing Point, which was Force India, who got bought out, now they copied They said they copied Mercedes' design and they call it the pink Mercedes because they use Mercedes engines as well. Well, they decided, even though the car looks identical to the Mercedes and using the same engine, that all of a sudden the other teams kick up a big uproar. Oh, the brake ducts on this car are exactly like the Mercedes. If it's a copy, guys, then obviously they're going to copy everything. But they're like, okay, we're going to dock you points, but we can still consider it legal and you can still race with it.
Yeah, that's what I don't get.
What's the point?
That's what I don't understand. Why, if it's legal to race with and you're acknowledging they did it,
What are you
why are you
penalizing?
docking them points then?
So I got an example. It's a really weird, odd example. In 1978, I know it's weird. Formula One had a
You were just 32.
I was 32 at the time. There was a team called Lotus. They invented ground effects. So the car is like an inverted wing on a plane where instead
The
of lift,
Venturi effect.
exactly, where instead of lift, it pulls it to the ground. So Brabham was another team, decided, hey, we're going to put this big, huge fan on the back of this car, and we're going to tell people it's for cooling. But what it really was is when they turned this big, huge fan on, there was a hole in the floor that sucked the car to the ground. So they let them race, one race. Scrutineers let it go through. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. It's great. They destroyed the competition. They banned it the next race and said it was an unfair advantage. It wasn't illegal. It wasn't within the spirit of the rules.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So now we're back to the whole spirit of the rules. So
Wow.
every race engineer, his job is to get around the rules. There's always a loophole.
Yeah, without breaking them.
Without breaking them. It's a gray area. So then they say, if it's someone's dominating, they're like, oh yeah, we can do it this way, but it's not within the spirit of the rules. It's like, is it a rule?
And that's how I kind of feel like about this in a weird way, because it's like, so you're penalizing Racing Point for
being
using
smart.
these, but Mercedes has them
Exactly.
and race with them every race.
But they're going to let...
How dare you copy the team that, you know what I mean? Like that's the edge that like no one said we couldn't use the same,
There's,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like it's one of those not within the spirit. So go ahead and keep racing with them, but we're going to dock you points.
It's
like it's a
different
weird,
if you
Unless they
steal
stole
it.
intelligence.
See, now that
Right.
happened.
That's a
Right.
different-
Right.
That's 100% correct. If
'Cause-
you steal it, yes, we have stolen it. It's identical. But if you look at it, like going down the road, and look at every car company in the world. Car drives by. Did you not notice all the cars are slowly starting to look like each other? Like
Yeah.
they steal from this one or they, you know, copy.
the only thing I find is like the noses look a little different than each other depending on what, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like
Ferraris and Mercedes nose looks nothing alike.
nothing.
But
No,
there was that year.
but the same idea is there.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did they call it? The year? Do you remember when the nose like they split it or whatever, and there was like the two. I don't know what
The
they.
F
I don't know.
duct?
It looked like a fork sticking
Yeah,
down.
it looked like a fork.
Oh, they called that one the slow. I know what you mean. The nose. It was the dropped wing.
Yeah, it was like a dropped wing, and it just went.
Benetton started that in the 90s. They
But-
were the first people to do a dropped wing.
Somebody, I don't even remember what team it was, brought that back, and then everyone else just did it.
Yeah, because it worked.
Yeah,
But that's what I mean.
that's what I'm saying. Like, how is that?
Yeah, how can they not go and say, oh, they copied our design? It's like,
Meh.
yeah, but you guys have been copying designs of race cars since the beginning of time.
We should
Yeah.
explain. So, like, for some people that don't, I'm not a big racing fan, but I'm an F1 fan, and people should understand. There's a couple things with F1 that, like, I think more people would enjoy it if they, you know what I mean? But there's two championships happening at once.
Correct.
There's the drivers' championship, and all the drivers, depending on where they place, 1 through 10, right?
10.
They get a certain amount of points. So first, obviously, being the most, and then 10 being, you know what I mean? I think 10 is 1 point.
10 is 1 point.
And it just, and like whoever has the most points at the end of the season
Wins.
Hamilton wins,
Yes.
right? Then there's the Constructors' Championship, which means it's almost like the team, the mechanics, everybody in the garage, they're working towards the Constructors' Championship. Not only are they trying to set up their driver for success, and they'd like their driver to win the Drivers' Championship, but they get a championship too for taking care of the team, getting points. So like one driver might not be going to win the Drivers' Championship, but they're consistently in the top 5 and they're earning their team points. There's a Constructors' Championship, right? Like your 2 cars are getting so much points. Now, for anybody who enjoys soap operas or Dawson's Creek, my wife, okay, or anything like that,
Casey.
Gosh. Gary, she heard
an
you say
F1
that
team?
last time. She's like, I love Gary. I was like, oh,
Way to get points, Gary.
it's not,
Why don't you marry him?
it's Dawson's Creek, not Pacey's Creek. Anyway, but for any of that, if you pay attention to the F1 world, it's super political.
Oh, big time.
And there's just always some kind of drama going on like this, like Racing Point, the technically Canadian-owned team,
correct, because it's
right,
owned by
is
Lawrence
now
Stroll.
using Mercedes engine. And now they've copied other parts of the Mercedes car. The Mercedes that is the dominant car right now in F1, and literally copied and kind of bypassed. Like Stroll already took a 4th,
Yep.
right? And then there's even the drama of Lance Stroll having a seat in a car. Just so people know at home, his daddy literally bought a team,
Yes.
kicked out a driver, and gave his son the seat.
In the
Literally.
in the
Very
most
literally.
lucrative sport on the planet.
Hey everyone. Recently I had heard that interest rates on mortgages had gone down. With only 1 year left before renewal, I thought I'd look into renewing my mortgage early. Am I ever glad I did? And I'm even more glad that I spoke to Guy Richard at the Mortgage Center. Guy has over 10 years of experience, has the highest certification possible as a broker, and will go out of his way to find the right mortgage for you. He offers unbiased, reliable advice, whether you're purchasing a new home or looking to make changes to your existing mortgage and refinancing. Contact Guy Richard at the Mortgage Center and take the easy way home.
Even
So as
even
a,
Hulkenberg.
well,
That was such a funny story.
What a random...
Poor guy.
talking about Hulkenberg, qualifying has just completed,
Yeah.
and he just finished 3rd.
So Perez isn't going this weekend?
He tested positive again.
Tested positive again.
You see that?
So the pink Mercedes is actually 3rd on the grid behind the 2 Mercedes.
Oh my God. With
It's a
Hulkenberg?
Hulkenberg is 3rd.
So he might finally get a pole.
Hulkenberg, who didn't have a seat this year,
So yes, Hulkenberg, who didn't have a seat,
replaces Sergio Perez, who
Yeah.
just tested positive.
Again.
because he went back to Mexico
And has the highest qualifying time in the team's history.
correct.
But he's not one of their drivers.
Correct. So they're just as a side note, because Lance Stroll is, it's basically his father's team, he qualified 6th. In a car he's
Good
been
job,
running
Lance.
all year.
Team Lance.
Team Lance, Team Pacey.
Like, I was saying, because Mikhail loves F1 now, loves it.
That's awesome.
And it's like, especially like the whole, like he's an Alonso fan, so he's excited Alonso, I know.
Attaboy.
oh man.
He's coming back.
I'm sorry, Mikhail, for what McLaren did to him.
Oh,
like-
don't even start.
But all this, but like, I should want to cheer for the Canadian team and the Canadian driver. And because of the way he got that seat, it's like, I just can't. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was
Yeah.
literally like
kinda-
your daddy bought the team
kinda
and
dirty.
kicked out a driver who came from nothing
Little greasy.
and worked his butt off to get.
Yeah. And,
And just so everyone knows at home, like the person they kicked out, the second he was available, the top team in F1 signed him as a 3rd driver,
Yeah.
just in case. Always in the garage, just in case something happened to the world champion, he'd get in his car.
exactly.
That's who this kid is. Like, it's just like the drama behind all that.
Yeah,
Like,
that's pretty greasy.
That's crazy.
Then you throw in
But
kneeling
Canadians are
for
such
the
nice
anthem.
people.
A.
oh, he said sorry when he did it.
Okay. It's fine then.
Yeah. We're taking your
That's
car.
fine.
Sorry. You got 3 days to pack. Sorry.
Sorry, eh, bud?
Sorry.
I know all the other seats for next year are taken. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a wild. It's funny, like F1 is like the race itself is only a small portion
what's
of
going
what's
on.
fun about following it.
Oh, the Netflix show is just making it come so exciting.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
Because
right.
you're seeing
Yeah.
some of, because like I already know what happened, but I don't know how it happened. And then you see the digs between some of the team principals and Christian Horner's getting into it with, you know what I mean? Like all this stuff. And like, you didn't get to see that. You just know what the decisions were as the season went on. And then the show comes out after the season and you're like, Daniel said what to who? You know what I mean? Like, it's just constant. Like,
But you got to remember, though, Formula One is the weirdest racing outfit that there is, because you go to NASCAR and like these guys just get out and like everybody's like, oh, it's, you know, all they do is turn left, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but you're still turning left at 200 miles an hour with like 30 or 40 guys, not like 24. There's like 40 guys behind you trying to run you over. Like, and then they get in a fight and they say whatever they want in the radio. Like, they just, it's more open to the fans too. Like, F1 is so, the chances of you meeting an F1 driver and getting an autograph is like slim to none. Where you can go any NASCAR racetrack, you could probably just be randomly walking through a paddock or walking through the pits.
You don't have like 10 grand for the VIP.
No.
and I also don't think though in NASCAR, like while what I'm about to say does exist in NASCAR, I don't think the fear of losing your ride, like while there is some, depending on team ownership and stuff, it's not like some of the drivers are at the point where they own their own team.
Yes, it's
in
not,
NASCAR. And in F1, it's like, no, Ferrari signed these two guys. Mercedes signed these two guys. And I cannot run you next year. I could fire you now. I could replace you at any time.
yeah.
Yeah, if you do something dumb or say something dumb or do something dumb to if we lose some of our sponsorships. Like there's all this.
Yeah, there's
Like-
more pressure over there because, like, Jeremy was always a McLaren fan, just to bring them up.
Still am.
And Tyson's favorite driver was David Coulthard.
Yep.
In his contract, he had to shave every day per his McLaren
Yep.
contract.
Had to shave.
Had to shave every day. That was non-negotiable. Every day he had to get up and shave, even if he didn't want
Had
to.
to look good for the queen.
Ron Dennis.
Now, David. Do I see stubble?
Yeah. Classic Commonwealth stuff, you know?
Nothing wrong with the Commonwealth. Do you know
But, like-
what? There's
Well,
only
it sounds
two.
like there is.
There's only two countries in the world who have never lost a war, and that was us and the Australians. Look it up. The only two countries in the world that never lost a war.
So diva. Look it up.
Look it up. It was us. Teach him.
That's where I'll drop something. I'll put something right there. One of the ads will go there.
Bush topics.
Oh, yeah. You want to do those?
We could get to bush topics.
Bush topics.
Good job on your ads last episode.
I love
Thanks,
those.
boys. Thank
You sound like an absolute professional.
Thank you very much.
So bush topics, guys.
What do we got this week, Tyson?
We have a few.
Did we
on
explain
here.
to Cameron what this is first?
It's funny. That's one of the topics. Someone wants to know does Cameron honestly not know what's going on, or is that all an act?
That's awesome.
No, it's not, but it should have been.
To answer your question, no.
That's Tyson's comment on the post.
Tyson posted to see if I
Trying to change
noticed
the
it.
name as we speak. Heather wants to know,
Oh,
dogs or cats?
cats.
Dogs.
I gotta go with cats on this one.
Tyson's the tiebreaker.
Can't I be both?
Absolutely, you can.
You're in a weird spot. There's not many people that have had
Both?
like such long-standing relationships with both. I feel like.
Like,
What?
here's the deal. Here's my
You know what I
trade-off.
mean?
Well, I had a cat for almost I think 12 years,
Mittens?
right? Yeah.
Great
and,
cat.
And Scruff was in there for a couple of years too.
Remember Scruff?
And now I have Nash, and I got to here's the trade-off. Is the dog more fun to play with? Sometimes. Okay. when he's not wrecking your stuff. But yeah, like he's playing with the kids and he wants to wrestle and he plays fetch and he runs around and you know what I mean? And like he cuddles with you, but it's a different type of cuddle. But that said, with a cat, you never really worried about, I'm leaving the house for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Or like that just doesn't.
You don't have to take the cat out to use the bathroom.
Yeah, like there's none of that. You know what I mean? Like, well, we're going to be gone half the day. Can someone go to the house and let him out to pee because he's going to have to pee and all that? Oh no, the cat she groomed herself and
Yeah.
Looked after
went in the litter box and I left food out and there was no. You know what I mean? There wasn't no.
I was gonna say
That's your trade off.
low maintenance, but they're very high maintenance in other ways.
In
or
other
they
ways.
can be, but like for the most part, the day to day.
With a dog will go and lay down. Eventually, it will just go lay down. A cat decides in the middle of whatever you are doing. Cat decides, I think it's time I walk up your back and just purr in your face and knock your phone out of your hand.
Start kneading your neck.
Yeah. Oh, he's laying on my. Oh, happy paws. Happy paws.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Standing on your face.
Yeah.
You're on your computer. Oh look, a keyboard. I can lay across this.
The way I always summed it up is like, I like how cats aren't as needy. They're just kind of like, they're just cool. That they're just like, I don't really care about you, but if you could just put some food in that dish, I won't get it right now to show you that I'm giving in, but I will get it later. But I don't like you, but I do appreciate having you around, but not a lot.
It's kind
I
of
will
like
kill you in your sleep.
I like
cats
that
are
whole
like
thing.
that. They're kind of like, I allow you to live here.
Yeah.
Feed me.
Yeah.
All is good in the world again.
And then dogs are needier. But I said the other night, like Nash here was being a Stephen John Nash Theriault was being a bit of a headache because he kept grabbing stuff. And like he'd go grab a pillow off the couch and bring it to you and look at you. And you'd be like, drop it. He's like, nope. You know what I mean? And he's backing up, tail wagging, and then you'd get it and you put it back. Then he'd go grab your hoodie off the banister. And he'd do it all over again. Then he'd do it with his toy. Well, like, Nash, you can have the toy. Like, I'm not chasing you for the... And I thought, what's my big complaint here? That he's trying to get my attention to play with him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, while it was needier and I'm busy, he just wanted me to play. Like, that's what he wanted. He wanted someone to chase him and play and go play fetch or...
Meanwhile, if there was a cat in the house at that exact moment, the cat would look at the dog like, what are you doing?
And the cats, they make their own, they're just like walking down the hall. All of a sudden it's like,
Yeah,
they look around, huge eyes, jump 5 feet up the wall, scurry across under the bed, then in the thing. It's like, and you're just sitting there and you're like, all right, well,
I did. One of my neighbors told me too that like aliens must think we're crazy if they're observing us.
Oh, yes.
As I walk this dog around the block, he walks in front. He defecates. I bend over and pick it up. I put it in a bag and then I carry it for 1 kilometer behind him. Like, I will carry this for you, sir. Like,
The aliens are going to go right to the animals first. So you guys are the ones that run
so
the
you're
place.
in charge. Cats and dogs, you guys are in charge.
is it
How have
true?
you trained them?
Is it true you defecate wherever you please? And the humans look after it. Yes, it is true.
I can even regurgitate and they'll pick it up.
Watch this. I'll try to eat my own, and the human will stop me. I don't know. I just like, well, I never had cats, but my wife had a cat when we got married. So I just kind of like, we had a whole feeling he couldn't stand me for a while, but over a few years, he eventually got used to it. And it got to this point where like, I could sit on the couch and watch TV and he would just kind of like jump up on the couch.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bad Jokes with Tyson Dukes.
Do you want to hear a joke about construction? I'm working on it.
You just listened to Bad Jokes with Tyson Dukes.
All right, so we're good?
Papa-dum, papa-dum, papa-papa-papa-dum, papa-papa-papa-papa-dum.
Yeah.
So you'll cut this off.
Yep.
So we're in Bush topics.
We're just going to do it again.
Okay.
Bush topics.
So Ashley wants to know. Cameron, that was a great phantom falsetto you had there.
Thank you.
Ashley wants to know, if you could only use one condiment for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
Ketchup.
That would be a horrible life.
Did you guys hear that Betty White is does the voice for Red Hot Sauce commercials?
I don't think so, Jeremy.
Oh, let me look it up. Oh, look.
So,
You're right.
What everyone doesn't understand is so
Sorry,
funny.
Gene.
Mrs. Hamilton.
We tried to do this already, and then Jeremy realized it didn't record. So now we're doing it again just to have the conversation. But Jeremy was wrong in the previous conversation that it wasn't Betty White who did the hot sauce commercials.
There's an alternate universe where I think Betty White did
Maybe
the
that's
Frank's Red Hot
is that a
sauce.
Mandela effect thing that people remember Betty White doing the Frank? No, now we
Maybe.
opened a can of worms.
Wow. Way better the second time asking this question.
The Mandela effect should have been a. Oh man!
The first time we talked about ketchup, this time we're like alternate realities.
That went a different direction.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, we talked about like so Frank's hot sauce. You literally put that on everything.
I do put that feces on everything. Yep.
I'm ketchup. I'm voting ketchup.
I got ketchup.
I'm voting ketchup.
The first time we did this, it took me 20 minutes to decide.
And you're still
I'm
undecided?
gonna go with ketchup.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So ketchup.
There was a point where it was asked if salsa was a condiment, which it is not.
It is not a condiment.
It is not.
It is not a condiment. Is chili?
No.
Are dressings and vinaigrettes?
Vinaigrettes? It's not a sauce per se.
Ketchup.
Yeah, boy.
Ketchup.
Ketchup.
Ketchup. Amanda would like to know, would you rather live out in the country or in a city?
So if I lived in the country, I would die within a few days. And I was going to not elaborate on that because I thought that'd be funny, but it's because I'm so used to going to grocery stores. Like if we don't have something on a Wednesday, it's like, we'll just go pick that up. I'm so used to that like,
We are too. I get that.
yeah.
But you got the three of you guys all grew up in the city.
Yes. So we're spoiled with, hey, do you want a barbecue tonight? Okay, fine. I'll go pick up some stuff. 10 minutes later, you have said stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
See now living
Where you grew up, hey, you want a barbecue tonight? Sure. 4 hours later, we're back here with the stuff.
No, actually, the funny part is it depends upon the thing that you wanted. If it wasn't the actual meal itself, but if you needed like an ingredient or something like that, because where I lived, everybody,
Hunting fished.
you knew everybody around.
You want a barbecue tonight? Yeah, let's go. Bang! Got one.
You could go up to the meat shop just up the road.
Oh, yeah,
One
there
of
was-
those.
That was a horrifying place. That was just up the road from where you are now, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just up the road.
Yeah. I walked in there once with you, I think, and weren't they playing like the music from the chase scene in the Freddy movies?
I believe it was the
Halloween, maybe.
I believe it was dueling banjos. Actually, is what you
Oh.
heard.
I thought I heard.
Yeah, there's nothing more scary than going into a butcher shop. Yikes! But I understand what you guys are saying. When I moved from home or the woods into town, it was like, what do you mean? What do you mean I can go to the grocery store in like 4 minutes? Like, are you serious? It don't take me 30 minutes to get down, 30 minutes to figure what you want, 30 minutes to get home, another hour to cook. Yeah, you're about 4 hours, Tyson.
But
But yeah, no.
I'm going to turn this question on its head, though, because anybody listening to this from Toronto, listening to us talk about Miramichi, New Brunswick as a city, will be laughing at us.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
If
Yeah.
we do, we should keep
If
in
our
mind.
definition of city is there's a grocery store within
no.
That's so true, eh?
But I grew
that's a
up
very New Brunswick definition
We
of
should
city.
keep in mind our national and international audience.
when some well,
France guy.
Yeah.
I had an Australian guy ask me one time, and he said, like, what do they call where you are? Is it a town? I'm like, no. He goes, well, what do you call it? I'm like, a community. He goes, a community? So he had to look it up. He goes, so how far between your neighbors? I was like, well, where I am, it's considered populated, air quotes. And it's like, there's people like, within a couple hundred, maybe quarter mile. Like, there's a lot of people, but some places there are like miles between people. Like, my cousin lives on the lives in a middle of a road that takes like 20 minutes to get to. He's way
Lives
back
in the middle of best friend nowhere.
the middle of nowhere. Like it takes 20 minutes just to get from his house, and there's nobody within probably 10 miles of his house. At least.
We need to define city here.
Well, that's what I
Calling
mean.
something a community makes it feel like it's a government
I
experiment.
know,
or
yeah. I was
something.
gonna say,
I didn't say commune. I said community, not commune. Thank you.
we live in the community.
Is it a city, a town, a village?
Let's keep going.
Community.
So I want to say city, but if it's
Miramichi would be considered a city with Newcastle, Chatham.
I want to live where there's a grocery store nearby.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do not want to live in downtown
Gary?
Toronto in
No.
a 100-story of a condo.
no, same. That's my point too. Like downtown Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, no thanks.
So I think I want to move into the country. I want to eat a ton of peaches.
Wow, you should write a song about that. I feel like we're treading
I'm going to eat
dangerously.
me a lot of peaches.
Yeah, we're treading dangerously close to the heritage commercial.
Gary,
Oh no, I know the meaning of the word. It means nation, and Canada is its name.
Gary, do you buy them from a man?
They come in a can from a factory in a
Damn.
big city that has a downtown.
Presidents of the United States of America. I went to pick peaches once and I met a guy named Lump.
Wow.
Sat alone. Hey everybody, let me tell you something. I have bought a house. I have sold a house. I've built a house. And I gotta tell you, what helps the whole way through is having a good realtor. Nothing beats having a good realtor. And you know who the best is? I don't know if we're allowed to declare that, but that's what I'm doing. I'm saying it right now. That's right. You heard me. Ryan Summers, Allied Realty in Miramichi, New Brunswick. If you are in the Miramichi area, it doesn't get better than this guy. Let me tell you what. Friendly, good service. I can vouch for this. Real people person and honestly cares about his clients, whether that's putting you in the right home or helping you sell your home, especially when you need to. He's the guy. He will get it done. So call Ryan Summers. That's right. You heard it here at 506-625-1384 or email him at Ryan Summers. That's RyanSomers@gmail.com. Text him, call him, 506-625-1384. Ryan's here for you. He's got you. Doug. Remember
Doug?
Oh, Doug. Doug's
Oh,
got the good. Doug's got the goods.
Doug's gonna
When
get us.
you ship styrofoam, what do you pack it in?
Wow.
Great question.
I would assume bubble wrap.
What do you?
Then he replies to himself. Or bubble wrap. Do you pack the bubble wrap in styrofoam and the styrofoam in bubble wrap?
Oh, totally set me up on that one. Wow. Would you not put those shells, those little?
Wood. You wrap it in wood. A big wooden
You
box.
can't break it,
Well-
right? If it's sheets or if you can't break it.
Yeah, but yeah, normally the sheets though they come in a box with like. Yeah,
Okay. Non-funny answer. So because I used to work at like a warehouse, like hardware.
Yeah.
When they ship all the sheets, the more layers of styrofoam you have strapped together, the stronger
The more
it
rigid
is.
it is.
So if
Ah.
they've got like a pack of 20, like 2x8 sheets packed together, you could stand on it. It's not going to break. If you jumped up and down on it, you're going to crack some.
Right.
Right.
Right. But
Okay.
like it's more rigid and not going to, but it's like shrink wrapped actually in plastic.
Oh.
But the styrofoam that comes in like your new TV box, I feel like that's just a big cube that they'd have to put in a crate. It'd have
Yeah.
to be in a crate or
Yeah,
something.
a
right?
crate.
Something.
Yeah.
Because that's specifically molded styrofoam for a purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you ship it in a bag as a bunch of those little tiny balls.
Yeah.
You have to assemble it.
Some
have to
assembly
assemble-
If you
required.
bought styrofoam from IKEA, you would have to piece all
Yeah.
of the little.
Yeah, you ship it in a garbage bag
Together.
in little tiny balls.
Oh, gosh.
Well, I know what I'm editing out of context later.
Now you gotta leave it in.
Nathan wants to know, out of all the universal monsters, I think we're talking like Dracula, Frankenstein, werewolf, right?
Sure.
They have a big brawl. At the end, who's the champ?
There are so many factors you can't even. Oh wow.
Oh, it's easy.
What?
What?
The monsters all kill themselves off. Bigfoot's been hiding in the woods the whole time, comes out with his hands raised in victory.
You don't even know. The only bush topic we have left is Sarah. Bigfoot?
Bigfoot wins.
Yeah, he's like the wrestler that hides under the ring the whole match.
You mean like me?
It's like
So-
the Undertaker.
Universal classic monsters. Actually, like in this list I'm looking at, they include Phantom of the Opera,
Oh,
Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy, the Invisible Man, the Wolf Man, the Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Can I ask something? Okay. Here's the question: how do you know when you've killed the Invisible Man?
Wow.
Ooh, that's deep.
Yeah.
well, from what we've learned about being invisible, he's got questionable morals.
It's true.
Every interview we've done, they
Yeah.
pick the gift of flight.
They're
over
like,
being
well, I don't
invisible.
want to be creepy. Is there no mention in there of the Kraken? The Seattle Kraken?
Just because Jeremy wanted to say, release the Kraken.
I think they're looking at like humanoid shaped. It's like the werewolf,
I see.
Frankenstein,
I see what you
Dracula,
mean.
the
problem
Mummy.
is,
Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
the problem is they're all like, it would go to the whole vampire versus werewolf argument, and that just, it's just.
I think that is the argument. That's like who would win.
Well, that's the problem. If it's sunny, the vampires can't win.
But that's essentially what. Who would win in a fight? Yeah, but that gets into the whole who'd win in a fight thing, and I just don't want to.
Give us that list again. Let's just narrow it down to the top contenders.
Yeah, okay, top contender. Sure.
Isn't the Yeti kind of a...
The Mummy,
That's the Bigfoot.
the Mummy,
Oh, yeah.
Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman, Invisible Man, and Creature from the Black Lagoon is kind of. I feel like Phantom of the Opera is included in that list. He gets his butt kicked. I'm sorry. He
Oh.
doesn't. Yeah, not
Starts singing. Yeah. He's the first one down.
yeah. No, you said yeah. No.
He's the first one down. The Invisible Man
He dies a
unravels.
fabulous death.
Send any combo of the other monsters I named to that like shady basement under the opera house. He's toast.
Yeah. He's kind of like Tuxedo Mask.
Yeah. The Shadow Man knows.
See, the Invisible Man, though, he just run up to the mummy and just
He has the Bigfoot thing going for him.
Unravel him.
unravel.
Yeah,
He just hides.
true. So the Invisible Man kind of has to win because you don't know when he's dead.
You don't know when he's dead. You don't see him coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he'd have to like.
Well, he couldn't stake the vampire. Stake float through the air.
Yeah,
might
you'd
notice
see
that.
it. That's the disadvantage of being like to pick up any weapon or to do anything. Like for him to try to take out,
He just can't do
Frankenstein is-
anything. He just has to hide.
he has to hide. But you don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hide and wait it out.
But he
Hide
still
and then
has to eat
choke
and
out
stuff.
the winner.
Choke out the winner. There you go.
You know what I mean?
But Dracula is not
yeah,
alive.
he can't choke
He's
out
dead.
Dracula, and he
Oh,
can't choke
wow.
out. I guarantee you, he
just
can't
has
choke
to
out
open the
Frankenstein
curtains
either.
for Dracula.
What?
He just has to open the curtains for Dracula.
Okay, he's got that one.
Or pitch a bunch of garlic at him.
To be fair, Dracula.
Eat a bunch of garlic.
Well,
As
he's
Dracula
creepy.
has some really unfortunate downfalls.
He does. So like the stake through the heart, right?
garlic,
Garlic,
sunlight,
sunlight, and
holy water,
and holy water and a cross.
and a cross.
It's like you're like Gary just joked, but like open the curtains.
Done.
If you're Invisible Man, that should be pretty easy to do. I
Take
Like
him
a-
out for Italian food,
Like I don't.
and he's dead. Trick him.
Kill him with a breadstick.
Frank's hot sauce on it.
Well, yeah, I feel like while he's as long as he can avoid those things we mentioned, he's actually immortal.
Yeah.
But those
Yeah.
The only way to kill the wolf man
because
is
garlic doesn't kill him. Garlic repulses him, right?
yes,
like they can't
and
stand.
Cross doesn't kill him. It
It repulses
It
him.
repulses him.
But sunlight can kill him.
And holy water, same thing. It
So I
repulses.
think the Invisible Man's the only one who's going to kill Dracula.
But he could kill Dracula.
yeah, but
But I can't see the Invisible Man
taking out Frankenstein.
taking out Frankenstein Yeah, I can't see it.
Let's
He
take
just waits them out.
Gary's all about the weight. Line
Waits
weight.
for
Invisible
millennia.
Man's very smart, strategic.
If it's a
and-
brawl,
Frankenstein. If it's a brawl, it's Frankenstein.
but I feel like Dracula could outsmart
Dracula.
Frankenstein.
Brawl.
I feel like if it's a brawl,
I think Dracula wins.
outsmarts a lot of them, wins, and the Invisible Man comes in
Yeah.
behind and takes out Dracula.
Dracula goes home to rest at the end, and the Invisible Man.
There you go, Nathan. Invisible Man. There you go.
There you go.
They need to do that on that. What's that show where they test like ancient weapons or ancient warriors?
It
like,
used to be Deadliest Warrior.
Yeah.
They should put
I loved that show.
all those. They should put that question on there.
Yeah. Ninja versus William Wallace. It's like, okay, guys, that's not even like, what?
Yeah.
Stealth guy with a big Scottish guy with a big
Yeah.
sword.
Do Invisible Man versus Dracula.
Viking versus
Wait.
a Navy SEAL.
They did do
Bang.
vampires.
It's over.
They did do vampires
Oh,
and Deadliest Warrior. I can't remember who the other one was. It was vampire. I don't remember who it was. Zombies. It was vampires versus zombies.
I'm assuming the show was canceled after that episode.
I pretty much think it was not long after.
All right, everybody. We are getting ready for 7 questions, this time with Tyson Dukes, Canadian pro wrestler, and in my opinion, the best pro wrestler in all of Canada today, having done stints at TNA, Impact Wrestling, WWE. He was in the Cruiserweight Classic, Ring of Honor, all over the indies. This guy's done it all. Hilarious to talk to. Have a listen. All right, everybody. So we have Tyson Dukes on the line, and we're going to do 7 questions with Tyson Dukes. You're getting to used to hearing the bad jokes with Dukes on every episode now. So this is him. So we're going to get this rolling. So question 1, Tyson, is let's say it's the zombie apocalypse. What skill or talent do you think you'd find the most useful during the zombie apocalypse?
Anger and aggression is my talent. I've told people this in the past, and I'll tell you guys now. If there's ever a zombie apocalypse, please stay out of my way. 'Cause I'm going to be wearing your skull as a helmet and just wrecking everything in life. I wait for that day that it comes.
That's one of the best answers we've gotten on that yet, I think. Yeah.
It's only because it's true, guys. It's only because it's very true. And I've thought about this long and hard. My son, my 18-year-old already knows that I'm already in the works of planning to have a war rig. You know, the big transport truck that was in
Mad Max.
That's me. Yeah, Mad Max. That's my favorite movie of all time, by the way. That's my favorite movie, Fury Road. And I want a war rig.
All right. Well, now we know.
We'll move along to question 2, I guess. If you could have the gift of flight or invisibility, which one do you choose?
Oh, good one. I think I'm going with flight, although I wouldn't use it. I'm not a guy that likes to fly. I don't like to leave the ground. I'm a very grounded human being. But invisibility seems like, if I say invisibility, you guys are just going to think I'm creepy. And I don't want to, even though I am creepy.
The ship has sailed. The ship has sailed.
I'm not going with the invisibility. However, if you're going to let me pick my own power, my own power would be, and nobody ever thinks of this, I would just not need to sleep ever. So everybody has to sleep. Everybody has to sleep. If you don't have to sleep, if that's your superpower, you rule the world.
That would really help out with the anger, too.
No, I don't think it will. I don't think it would. I would just fuel it a little bit more, but that's what I'm going with.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. My turn. All right. So immediately after this interview, if you went outside and found a lottery ticket and you won $10 million, what would you do?
Well, the first thing I would do is I would buy New Brunswick and turn it into my own amusement park. I think I would definitely have my war rig. That would definitely be another thing on the list. And I'm trying. You know what? I I don't see myself, honestly, I don't see, like, if I had millions of dollars, I don't think much would change. I'm pretty happy with and content in my life. I would just probably own so many pairs of wrestling boots that it would be obscene. Like, I'd have a house full of wrestling boots, and that'd be it. Weird stuff, man. I'm just weird.
Must have been something in the water.
That New Brunswick water, yeah.
Like how New Brunswick just falls in within the 10 million.
Well, you know what? I don't think it's worth. Is it worth much more than $10 million, fellas?
It's just the first item.
There's a lot of friggin' trees, fellas. A lot of damn trees. And just a couple of rivers. That's all we're dealing with here, folks. That's it.
That's not that inaccurate either, just so people know.
That's spot on. Absolutely spot on.
I'm not wrong. I am not wrong on this.
Yikes.
Next question. If you had one food to eat for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Donuts. Definitely donuts.
That was quick.
I didn't even need you to finish that one. Donuts all the time. And here's the thing about donuts is I'm a huge connoisseur of donuts. I'm a fan of all kinds of donuts, but as I age, I feel as though with age, you get a little bit older and your taste buds change. I'm into maple donuts now. As a child, they were the grossest donuts ever. But now I can't, like, that's my go-to is a maple donut. I don't know about you dudes, but maple donuts is where it's at for this sucker.
Oh, we stopped one time on a road trip and Phil Sutherland got a pack. I wish Jeremy could talk, but Phil Sutherland got a pack of those Homer Simpson donuts at a gas station. They were like these Simpson rip-off donuts.
Yes.
And all four of us got sick. We had to pull over and it was not good.
That's
Phil
awesome.
He was clearing that van out. Like we had to get out. Like there was just no, I swear you could see the vapor. Like it was just unreal.
Me and one Showtime Eric Young got into a battle coming home from a WWE show when we were doing tryouts years ago. This is back in 2002. And Bobby Roode was the official. He was the donut official regulating these donuts. There's regulation-sized donuts, as I say. And we had a donut eating competition where we ate a dozen donuts each on the way home from our Cleveland show, WWE. And I did the terrible thing of not getting any milk because I thought, well, I'll fill up on milk. I don't want to fill up on milk. And Showtime got 2 cartons of milk, and he beat me by 1 donut just because of it. And he wouldn't share his milk. He's just a terrible human being. Just share your milk. Don't be a cheat. That's what I say. But whatever.
Oh. All right. Next question. We talked before about like you have a wrestling school and stuff and everything, but this is more of an interest because people don't know. Like there has to be actually a lot of communication in wrestling, right? So
yes, definitely.
How the heck do you wrestle somebody that doesn't speak the same language as you and still pull such a great match off?
It's because wrestling is universal. So even though we don't use the language of choice, being either Japanese or English or German or whatever, body language is a huge part of professional wrestling. So I know how a person is positioned, what to expect and what not to expect. So it's always, and it makes for better stuff because you're a little bit more on edge. You're a little bit more alert. You're a little bit sharper when you're dealing with a guy that doesn't have the same consistency and communication. And it sometimes makes for a better match because then you're just naturally going into stuff a little bit more natural instead of making it look rehearsed. Now, body language.
Okay. Awesome.
Didn't expect that one.
Listen, guys, I've been at this so long now. I could write a book about pro wrestling, the ins and outs of like the mechanics. Like wrestling mechanics is kind of my thing. It's kind of my niche because I know.
You mean almost like a textbook?
Oh, you could almost say.
Oh,
like
that was
a
slick.
Textbook. Well played, sir. Well played.
Well, that was well played.
Well, everybody gets their moment once in a while.
Well, that's a good moment. Yeah, but it's more of my niche is like knowing all the little tiny minute details, even from where to place your knee and where to place your foot and where your elbow goes and all that stuff. I know exactly at all times what position to be in. So
awesome.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Now I got the next one. What do you think the one thing that is missing from wrestling today?
Oh man, I could rant all day about this. I don't have the time to because I only got so much battery charge in these damn iPhones. But because I could go on forever. Wrestling is now run by the fans. It isn't run by the wrestling anymore. Like they dictate what we do. We don't dictate what we do. Because we let fans in the business. So the fans started wrestling, and then the fans have taken over instead of keeping with tradition of how business is. So the one thing that's missing is definitely traditional professional wrestling, whether it be angles, storylines, even how one hits the ropes or locks up. It's no longer a place of believability because the magic is the idea that it's real. It's a real contest. And to have people invested in this contest, even though some people would know going in that it's not real, it's predetermined. You can actually catch them off guard and they could be lost in the magic if you were good at it. Unfortunately, now these kids nowadays, it looks very choreographed and rehearsed. And it looks like a gymnastics routine mixed with kung fu theater. It's not really. It's not wrestling. It's not wrestling the way. Like, give me Steamboat, Flair, Rick Rude, Ronnie Garvin, Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson. Give me those guys all day long. Give me that to me all day long, and less backflips, and I'll be a happy man.
Yeah, same here. There was a match. Shall remain nameless, but there was a match I saw a couple weeks ago that made TV that like 8 minutes in, nobody had tried to pin each other yet. It's like, are you not trying to win something here? Like, it was just spot to spot to spot to spot.
Right. And they're like, someone also said that they're more athletic nowadays. I'm like, sure. You can say that you're athletic because you can backflip to your feet. Like you can do a front flip to your feet and stuff like that, but that's not athletic. You've taken a gymnastics class. Like back in the day, if you watch Rick Martel hit the ropes, he hits it like a million miles an hour. Now the kids jog into the ropes. They line up how they want to look, and then it looks so cheesy and corny and so over the top rehearsed. I watched Luthez and Buddy Rogers go 55 minutes in what looked as real can get, and those two dudes are athletic, like genetic monsters. And this is back in I think it was the 60s. It was just a work of art, and I got lost just watching it. Because I was trying to study from it and take some stuff for the kids at the school, but then I had to watch it the second time around because I got lost in how good it was. Yeah. So that's the problem nowadays. That's what's wrong.
It's like watching a Bret Hart and Dynamite Kid match. You watch it, you're sucked right in, and you stay there until it's over, and you're like, "It's over? What happened?"
Yeah, you know what, and and you can watch it again and again and find new stuff out of it, and that's also like little minute details that they used to throw in there that would makes wrestling so good, Yeah.
Awesome, Cameron, you got the last one there too.
I do, sir. All right, you've wrestled all over the world, wrestled people with different abilities and different capabilities. Without mentioning names, what is one of the dumbest things someone has ever tried to pull in the ring?
The dumbest thing is like there's always dumb spots. There's always guys that want to do, like I said before, stuff that's out of a movie that would require like a high wire like type act with cables attached to them, do a Matrix type stuff. where they are athletic human beings and they go for stuff, and it might work in the premise works and they'll try it, but then it's not good. So there's a spot, it's been done a couple times, and one time I did it and another time I absolutely refused, where there's a bunch of us. It almost looks like we line up. The guy goes off the corner and runs off of a couple of guys' shoulders and then jumps onto the other guy into a hurricanrana. It's basically, it's something out of a kung fu movie, and it never comes off as real. It's very, very staged. Everybody has to be in their right position and like have their shoulder tilted in a certain direction and keep it up. And then it just, you lose the illusion of now that it's reality based. It looks like two kids on a play yard playing and doing a tumble routine together. And that's probably the dumbest thing. I remember the first time I did that spot, and I just remember rolling out of the ring and just thinking, God, I wish I had 10 minutes back. Like, I wish I could go back in time and just smack him in the face. I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever done. But I've since then, it's been a good thing. It's been a good thing that I actually did it, because now it has given me clarity beyond clarity. Even years into this business, you always have to reassess yourself. And then from that day on, I took myself more seriously with my profession going forward. I won't do silly stuff. I won't do something for somebody else's amusement when it comes to jeopardizing the profession that I put so much into. So that's basically the nitty gritty of that one.
No, and I think that's very fair, because it is a pet peeve of mine. I guess like all of us that watch wrestling, we're all fairly old school. Like even my favorite tag team right now, well, I guess they're not the Revival anymore. Now they're FTR.
FTR.
Because, and I think it's solely based on, they remind me of Aaron and Tully. That's their style. It's like a hybrid of it, I guess. But like, some of those high spots take me out of it, in that like a good match makes me forget for a second that what I'm watching is scripted, and I forget all that. It's gone, and I'm into it until they do something like what you mentioned, and then I'm out of it again. Like it even as a fan takes me out of it.
So I equate it to this, and this is the analogy I always give people when it comes to that whole thing. You can sit down and listen to somebody read a book. So it's a live reading, or you can watch fireworks. And a lot of kids will enjoy the fireworks, and a lot of people will come out and like do the ooh and ah at fireworks. But within a 5-minute span of seeing lights explode in the air, it becomes very redundant and boring. And it doesn't matter how many fireworks you pull out, doesn't matter how many colors you have. It's still the same thing that you're watching, and it becomes very boring, and people don't want to see it again. However, if you're at a book reading, a live reading, the first couple minutes might take a little bit of work to get into, but you will be captivated and you'll sit there and listen for hours. So that's the difference, is that nowadays everything's so given to, everything's so instant. Everybody wants instant, but like, unfortunately, for the good things in life, it takes a little bit more time. It takes a little bit more patience, and it's not instant. And that stuff will always carry as being better stuff. And that is just not only psychology, but that's just human. That's the way humans are built. And so that's always what I go with. It's a live book reading or fireworks. I'd rather give them literature that they can listen and become captivated and get lost in something, get lost in the story, opposed to watching fireworks for 3 minutes, getting bored, and then walking away.
Well, and I love that analogy, because as a wrestling fan, I look back, what I remember and my big memories from looking way back and what made me love wrestling are some of the big storylines that happened. And you remember, my favorite match still is like a 60-minute, it was Brett and Shawn at WrestleMania.
Yes.
And there was no big, like the psychology in that thing that I didn't realize even what that was at the time, right? That I look back and I was kept in it the whole 60 minutes as a kid. I was kept in it. And like, I feel like that's a bit lost now. You're right. Like I love the analogy you used of the fireworks, because like, yes, that was great. That was awesome. And it's still happening. Right. That's still, the same things happen. It's over now. I can go home. Like, yeah.
The best thing I've seen when it comes to a slow burn, like slow build up, was always the Midnight Express versus the Rock and Roll Express. They beat Ricky Morton half to death, and you thought he was dying in the ring trying to crawl.
That man could take a beating. Yeah,
he could take a beating, but you know what I mean. It built and built, and everybody was getting into it, and the crowd slowly was like, "Oh, is he going to get there?" And then they beat him some more, and they beat him some more, and then finally he makes the tag, and it was kind of like the whole place erupts, and everybody just goes wild
through storytelling. No high spots.
Right.
They just told the story. Yeah.
We're going to do on my the next podcast that we do, we're doing a tag team match, and it's going to be the Midnight Rockers, being Marty, Jannetty, and Michaels against Rose, Buddy Rose, and Summers, Pretty Boy Summers. And you're gonna see nothing crazy. You're just gonna see absolute violence and intensity, and just the two meanest, ugliest, like bad looking heels, like ugly dudes that you would hate. If you saw them on the street, you'd be mad. But it's just a work of art. It's AWA, and it's one of those matches where there's absolutely nothing thrown in the ways of suplexes and body slams or anything like that. It's straight up just four guys punching each other in the face till they bleed, and it is absolutely a work of art.
Speaking of the podcast, we'll wrap up here. Do you want to plug the podcast and Hammerlock Apparel and all that stuff while we're here?
Well, you know what, guys? I have been very bored in my COVID days. I'm not being able to wrestle. I was scheduled to work West Coast to East Coast. I got home from Europe, and I was supposed to be at AEW. I was supposed to be all the way in Vancouver, and then shipped myself way over to Newfoundland, and then I had some stuff in Winnipeg. I was bouncing all over the place, and then everything got shut down.
Yeah.
So what does a man do when he's a very busy guy by nature? As you guys know how busy I can get. I decided to start a clothing line. It's not so much a wrestling clothing line as it is more about athleisure. It's more like athletic wear that's comfortable to wear. You don't have to work out in it, but it's great. It's great stuff. Like, it's great, really good stuff. It's really nice materials. We took our time with it. So we started a Hammerlock Apparel. So once we started a Hammerlock Apparel, we said to ourselves, well, why stop there? We got a school. We have the clothing line. Let's start Hammerlock Wrestling, so it all ties in together. So once COVID's over, we're going to start our own promotion and be able to work within the realms of our school, our clothing line, our promotion, all working in sync in a symbiotic relationship to do that. And out of this came the idea of doing Hammerlock Podcast. So me and my buddy, Tyson Dukes, that is his last name, Dooks. He's actually from Moncton. He's a Moncton boy and lives up here in London. Yeah, man. I'm telling you, like, if you watch the podcast or listen to the podcast, Scotty's voice he's East Coast, as East Coast can be. And when he says a date, it's funny because you can hear it. You can hear when people from back home say July 23rd. You know that it's from back home. And so he's got me almost doing my old accent back again. And so we're just having a blast putting out some good stuff. And all it is about giving a little bit of entertainment, but also educating people, both wrestling. We really want to reach up and coming wrestling talent, but also letting people know, because everybody knows that it's predetermined now. So we're just giving them a little bit of insight as to why wrestling sucks now and why they feel that way about it and where it could go from there. We're trying to bring wrestling back to a state of a little bit more old school, not crazy old school, but we want to bring back wrestling to its glory days. And that's the mission. That's our creed right now. So yeah,
bring back the territories.
Bring back the territories. I agree. Me and my son, who's 18, who wrestles now, have had this conversation. We had this conversation today. I said, would you sign with a company right now? Because we were if they offered me a contract tomorrow, I wouldn't take their bottom line contract. I would have to ask for more money because I make a good living of what I'm doing now. And I don't want to be stifled. I want to be able to do what I want to do wrestling wise. And all the product that is out there right now isn't worth my time. If that makes I know that sounds terrible, but it's just not. It's so, and my son feels the same way. He's like, I'd rather go to Japan right now and try to make a living at this that way, or go to Puerto Rico and build my name up instead of doing this WWE stuff. Because you're just hauling in talent just to hold on to talent. You're not using it, and you're not using it correctly. So that's how I feel, and that's how he feels. Weird.
When my 11-year-old recognizes that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he instantly got the no feeling. He told me when Keith Lee got called up. And he's 11. He's 11. Yeah. And he said, "Oh no. I thought I was telling him something good." And he was like, didn't even want to know what happened yet. He was already upset Keith Lee got called up.
Yeah, see, and that's the deal is like they don't know, and the cinematic wrestling that is starting to take over because they can do it because there is no crowds. It's so far away from what true wrestling is. It's disgusting. It is so artificially made now. It's hard to watch. It's hard to want to be a part of it. So if they offered me the baseline, of course I would sign a contract if it was worth way more than what I would think that I should be paid. But I wouldn't sign on any line for that that bottom line that they give now. No way. No,
that's fair. That's fair. Well, man,
why do you think I don't watch it?
What?
Why do you don't think I don't watch half of it?
I haven't watched any of the product at all in a very, very long time. The only thing I watch is the stuff that we're doing for the podcast. Is all I'm doing is going back and watching old stuff so that I can like surprise you guys with something like really crazy. Like there's a match between Stan Hansen and Bruiser Brody against Dory Funk and Terry Funk from Japan, and it's just absolute chaos.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
It's crazy fun to watch. And then I just want people to see stuff for what it is or what it was so that they get an idea of like wrestling didn't always suck. So when your 11-year-old is watching wrestling and he's getting these oh no's, like you want to just kind of like, here, son, this is when this stuff used to be great. And this is the golden years of pro wrestling. And that's kind of what we're trying to accomplish is just get people to do a little bit of history, I guess. Yeah.
Awesome. Man, thanks so much for coming on and doing this. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you guys. It was fun.
Awesome. It was fun. We'll have to have you back, but with new questions.
Yeah, you better. Hey, just gear up, boys, because I got an answer for everything. I'm like, what would you do if you're president? Oh, you wait to hear that
one. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Tyson. Thanks a lot.
All right, guys. Have a great night.
All right, you too.
Do we have a news story that we could do a news story into the end?
Funny news story?
Gotta be something to do with nudity. Tyson's laughing over there.
All right, you ready? No, that's funny, Cameron. Thanks for getting me in trouble. Appreciate it.
Nudity humor. I know who said that
too. Man's attempt to fake his own death thwarted by a typo.
What?
And the author of this article said, "Guess my old English teacher was right. One misspelled word really can ruin your life." Have you ever wished you could just disappear? That you could become somebody else and leave all your worries behind? Sure you have. Everyone has had those moments, blah, 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 blah. Don't try to act like you haven't. Running from your problems rarely works, after all, and often only makes the whole situation worse. A Long Island man recently learned that lesson the hard way when he tried to fake his own death, only to be thwarted by a typo. The man in question is Robert Berger, 25, from Huntington, New York. He was charged on July 21st with offering a false instrument for filing, which is a Category E felony in Nassau County. If convicted, he could be facing 1 to 4 years of prison. The death certificate was certified to the NCDA by Bourque's former attorney, and it was actually very convincing. It was printed on the exact right kind of paper. All the barcodes, markings, and signatures were all there, and it even had an authentic-looking stamp in the corner. It was almost the perfect crime. Bourque would have gotten away with it, too, if it wasn't for one pesky mistake. Before we tell you what it is, go look at... Yeah, I don't need to look at that. Blah, 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 blah.
Clickbait.
If you don't,
clickbait.
If you don't have time for our games or couldn't find the mistake, here's a hint. Take a look at the lines under the text, and there it is. So despite the masterful work done by getting the certificate to look real and authentic, Bourque made a typo with the word registry, and instead he typed registry. So like REGSITRY. It looks more like Reg's I try to me, but it seems fairly insignificant, but that kind of typo simply doesn't happen on an authentic death certificate.
Wow.
They're all pre-made and they're filled in and signed, right?
Oh, wow.
Right.
The error was caught by eagle-eyed assistant district attorney, like who saw it.
A district attorney.
Attorney who saw it. Well, because they all have to sign them as they come across the desk to, like, for their estates and stuff, right? And money owing. And saw like, oh, there's a spelling mistake that just doesn't happen on this death certificate. Yeah. And they sure enough found him, and he had tried to fake his own death.
Wow.
Spell check, people. Spell check.
Wow. Wow. Man, that's like high school mistake right there.
But like, you have the exact kind of paper on a real death certificate.
Yeah,
you faked a realistic looking stamp.
You can't.
You used your old lawyer's old stuff to fake your death. You got everything correct, and you spell something wrong.
You can't proofread it.
Wow.
Wow. That's funny.
And the charge was filing a false instrument.
Filing a false instrument. Yeah, I'm not real sure how that. Filing a false instrument.
I'm innocent, sir. I can't even read a note.
It seems this instrument is false.
Wow.
I got one.
Yeah?
Yeah. Guy in Darth Vader costume collects lottery jackpot. A man wearing a Darth Vader costume collected $95 million lottery in jackpot in Jamaica.
Oh, wow.
The lottery company reported.
Too easy.
Yeah, too easy. Too easy.
Yep. He did. He wore a Darth Vader costume to get his ticket so people would know who he was.
So,
to hide his identity.
The joke
Hide
is
his identity.
He wasn't the guy. He just...
I was like, how do you know he wasn't the guy?
He didn't want people to know what he looked like because they'd hound him for money or, yeah. Now he's off by himself living in the woods of Jamaica.
I saw that. I was like, I got to say that one.
Wow.
Wow.
I rented a hardcore Darth Vader costume once. At the Halloween dances for school, I used to go all out for the kids at school. And it's one of those deals where, like, I don't like chaperoning the dances, but if I'm going to have to do one, I might as well sign up for Halloween.
Might as well have fun.
Everyone's in costume and try to, you know what I mean? And every year I stay in costume, and after the dance is over, I go through the Burger King drive-thru in costume. So I've got this series of pictures of me going through the drive-thru as Darth Vader, a werewolf, Leatherface, Freddy Krueger.
That's awesome.
Sitting in the car, but there's something about seeing Darth Vader behind the wheel of a Honda CRV looking in the window. And like every time they laugh, right? Like, yeah, we'll take your picture. Like they just think it's funny. Yeah, but the Leatherface one looks pretty. Like I've got a skin apron on, and you can see ears and stuff sticking up on the.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and it's like chainsaw on the passenger seat, and the guy's like, "Yeah, I'll take your picture."
You're holding my chainsaw while you're at it.
Yeah. And can I have a tray for the drinks? Thanks.
Yeah. Could you hold the severed head?
Wow. That's about all the time we have, guys. But thanks for listening.
Check out our sponsors.
Go check out our sponsors. And like honestly, go give their page a like for us. It really helps us out, and it shows that you guys are listening. And
it shows that you care.
Yeah. But thanks for listening. Be safe out there. Have a good time. See you next time.
Bye. You would have to piece all of the little...
Yeah, you ship it in a garbage bag in little tiny balls.
Oh, gosh.
Well, I know what I'm editing out of context later.
Now you gotta leave it in.
You just wasted some of your life listening to the Bush League podcast. You must stop what you're doing right now. Like and subscribe and leave a 5-star rating. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and like us on Facebook.